All right. Well, a couple days till race and just had a good functional test in the barn. I was able to drive it forward and backwards in the barn and tried the series parallel switching. So that's all good. Um, what's different from the last race? Well, biggest difference is I've got two Soliton controllers here as opposed to the big Shiba controller that I had in the back of the truck originally. That one got damaged, it seems like, on the last dyno, and that wasn't pulling very well. So now I've got these two Solitons, much lower power. While I was pulling 3,000 amps on that, I can only pull about 900 amps on each one, so that's 1,800 amps. I can tell just quantitatively pulling back and forth in the barn that I do have more torque with these two than what the Shiba was putting out. So that is what it is. So I just did a functional test. I got some stray wiring that I need to just wrap up. I'll put it all in a loom so it's out of the way. I am not going to use the gas cooling since I'm only going to be shooting 900 amps at each motor in series and only 450 in at parallel. I really don't need the cooling, I hope. That, and I just don't think I have time to rig something up with the little space I have. Cooling system. See how well you can see, but this is actually just some PVC pipe here. That's 3-inch ABS pipe. Plumbed it in. Use one of my normal motors pumps, which you can't see, but that just flows through. I'm actually for the race going to drop some ice in there and actually cool the controllers down farther from that. So obviously the series parallel switching I've got in there, and never tried that before, and it works. Moving around to the truck, pretty much everything here is just like new, or just like before. You can't really... Only real change up here is that I've got a switch on the steering wheel, so I can switch from high gear to low gear, which is from series parallel to series. Back behind the panel, there's nothing in there, just some wiring. That's where the Shiba used to live. It's a lot easier to work on the controllers now. And then past that, I'm running the smaller tires, and that will help me off the line a little bit more since I'll have better acceleration with the lower torque that I've got. And hopefully the series parallel switching will come into play. Also, these are speed rated tires. These are Y+, which is needed for the class that I'm hoping to be in. Might not do, actually, now. And anyway, and then in the back, I'm only running two of the banks. Before I was pulling 3,000 amps, I needed each bank output about 1,000 amps each at full hammer. But now with only 900 amps per side, two should be more than adequate, or at least adequate. I could put the third in. That would help with voltage sag, and so I'd be able to run a little bit higher voltage under load. I debated on that. Might do that, but not for the initial runs. I want to save the weight. It's almost about 300 pounds. It's like 7% of the vehicle weight I save by just taking one of those out. And that's definitely worth it. Also, previous videos you saw there's a Honda Civic radiator with a bunch of lines and plumbing, etc. Took all that out. That was a single cooling system for everything. Now I split everything into separate cooling systems. And I'm just, for as short duration as this is, I'm just relying on thermal mass. I debated about running no coolant in there, but then it's air, and the convection is going to be much worse than conduction. So I wanted to make sure everything was wet, and then I am circulating through, so that'll help equalize the temperatures. And just circulating through this much surface area is going to be a radiator itself. So long way of saying what I had for battery cooling before was way overkill. I did that just because I wanted this one cooling system for the Shiba and for the batteries, which is not a good idea. Batteries want to be slightly warm. Controllers want to be as cool as you can get them. But anyway, so the pump just recirculates through there, purged it, and I also flushed the system. I probably ran a couple hundred gallons of fresh water through there, and filled it back up, and it's good to go. So anyway, past that, it's got the 308 gears in there. That's the 308 NASCAR locker gear 308 old NASCAR diff with a locker in it. So I'll get plenty of traction, and I haven't put the 250s in there. I'm curious to see torque-wise how everything comes out. I think just be starting with too tall of a gear. And if I want to go faster, if I can go faster, I might swap to the 250s, but we'll see. I've got it riding up pretty high right now, partially because one of the batteries is taken out, so it's 300 pounds out. But also, I did put airbags in from some of the previous videos. So this helps me so I can actually get out of the barn. We live on kind of a side of a hill, and it's up a rutty, dirty dirt path. And yeah, you can see what happens every time I drive around in this thing. It's just it wouldn't be so bad if it wasn't for the traction bars. Those traction bars just want to hit everything. That's part of the reason I have those Cooper Cobras, is that they're 30-inch tall tire thereabouts, as opposed to this is a 24.7, which I need for ratio and speed rating, but I don't drive these on the street because it's a nightmare. But anyway, so yeah, like I said, a few minor things wiring wise. I've got some of it done in the wiring loom, but I need to do the rest through here. Make sure I don't get any chafing, etc. But yeah, ready to race.